he had supper with his friends. I agree with Mother Ruth. This Maundy Thursday evening service is one of the highlights of my priestly year. The act of kneeling in front of someone and washing their feet as an expression of the humble love and care that Jesus showed to his disciples is a real privilege. We'll be enacting that in a different way this evening, in this strange present circumstance in which we're not able to gather together or to touch anyone other than those with whom we share our house. For those of you who live alone, this is a particularly difficult time. But I hope that our virtual connection online, or for some of you, the ability to share in reading the words of tonight's service at home, will help you to feel part of our wider community. Does this act of foot washing remind you of other times when you've washed others or been washed yourself? The remember is for me of carefully bathing my children when they were tiny babies, cradling them in my hands, holding their heads when they were too small to support that weight themselves, and just loving them. Another memory is of a dear friend who couldn't bend to wash her feet after her hip replacement. She asked me to come and do that for her. It was a simple sharing of trusting love and friendship with gentle washing. And you may have similar thoughts or memories, expressing love in a practical, gentle and tactile way. When I worked as a chaplain at Trinity Hospice, I was aware of the importance of gentle touch, washing, caressing for the patients there. In these present times, we think of the carers, nurses, doctors who are doing even more than that for their patients. We see images on television of people in heavy blue personal protective equipment in intensive care units, gently turning critically ill patients on their beds to ease their breathing, loving and caring for each precious individual and risking their own health and safety as they do that. And the gentle washing and caring for elderly patients in their own homes or in care homes goes on every day, but most of us are unaware of that constant daily loving care. The love we find in Jesus is a total, self-giving love, demonstrated this evening in the mundane but scandalous act of washing his disciples' feet. This was the act of a servant, and he was their master. No wonder Peter objected. But we need to learn that we can only wash other people's feet when we have allowed our own feet to be washed. We cannot serve others if we do not allow others to serve us. We cannot constantly give out unless we're willing to receive. Some of us in this current situation find we're restricted in how we can serve others. We have to accept help from people day by day. But we can all pray on our own or with others and keep in touch and encourage one another. Maundy Thursday comes from the Latin word mandatum, commandment. Jesus gave us two at the Last Supper. One is to love one another as he has loved us, and the other is to remember him in the breaking of bread. Jesus broke the bread saying, "This is my body which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Just as the Jewish people remember and retell year by year the story of Passover as told in the book of Exodus, we remember Jesus breaking bread at his Last Supper. We remember that week by week in our Holy Communion in remembrance of him. We remember his body broken on the cross, his blood shed for us, and we hold out our hands to receive that wonderful gift, taking the love of Jesus into ourselves so that we can share that love with others. We may not be able to receive the physical bread and wine at the moment, but we can still open our hands, our hearts and our minds to receive his love and know his presence with us, to strengthen us and give us hope. We heard at the start of tonight's Gospel that Jesus knew his hour had come. What must that have felt like? We're invited at the end of this service to spend time praying with Jesus tonight before we return tomorrow to hear again the story of his arrest, trial and crucifixion. We have time tonight to prepare ourselves as Jesus prepared himself for the darkness of Good Friday tomorrow and the waiting in hope until the joy of resurrection on Easter Day. So in the darkness of this present time, with all the difficulties that many of us face, the fear and the anxiety, I pray we may have fresh inspiration to share the love of Christ in all that we do, loving one another as he has loved us. Amen.